obviously you are consuming the product. After that, package is going for landfills, and we have a global problem on post-consumer packaging waste. So I think for the students, of course, for their benefit, I encourage people to look at circularity, because we are talking about circular packaging now, and sustainable packaging at the point of design. So there are circular packaging design guidelines, sustainable packaging design guidelines, which is out right now, and you can, it's one from Austria, one from Australia. Please go through that, and circular thinking has to go into your design concept. That's very important. The other point is, some of the global companies have decided to give certain, I would say, milestones. Now, if you take Unilever, they have decided by 2025, in their primary packaging, 50% has to be the recyclates have to be incorporated. So it's difficult, but it is possible. Now, I'll give you one example. In Australia, Coca-Cola is usually having their PET bottles, and we gave a World Star in packaging for 100% recycled PET bottle. So it is, what are the barriers there? Food safety. The first point is whether it is food safe. Now there are solutions available. You certify for food safety, and then you move on for assuring your product and qualifying your product for commercial application. So answering to your question, yes, innovation is required with a purpose. But I have seen that I'll say some of the SME sector, big boys have, they followed big boys have, with the packaging itself, they had to close down or stop the brand. Because as Dr. Pascal mentioned, you have to ensure that your design is convertible right throughout the supply chain. It's very, very important. Here, I mean, one other point that you mentioned, it's pilot project. We don't have an incubation center in the country, especially for food packaging. We are talking about it. Probably Suresh and I will get involved in that. A classic example is Thailand. Thailand is a net exporter of fruits and vegetables to the world. You call it kitchen of the world. And also they have a lovely incubation center along with Thai Packaging Center and University of Kasetsart, going from a bachelor's degree up to a doctoral program. And they have an incubation center. You just have to bring your product. The packaging is supplied, packaging is validated for your commercial application. So innovation is important. Let me also congratulate some of the students here because we conduct a program here in Sri Lanka since late, I think early 90s, called Lancaster Packaging Awards. And we have launched a Students Star program also. And some of the innovative designs have been recognized. Even recently concluded Lancaster Award ceremony. Some of your students have won awards. And not only that, Lancaster Packaging Award scheme is a foundation to go into other packaging award or competitions. You have to win a local packaging award for you to go into the next level. That's Asia Star and also World Star in packaging. And I'm happy to say that your university, right along, I think during the last 10 years, there were World Star winners in the student category. Some of the innovations were really good. Some are even worthy of going into patent rights. Some have gone, and some of the universities are now joining, namely Wayamba University. Some of the materials that they have developed are fantastic. I would say one is to minimize packaging waste, the other one is minimize food waste. So both are complementary, but I must tell you that the food waste has been used for packaging development in a big way, and some of the Sri Lankan students are spearheading this, and it's good to see as Sri Lankans, because I was also one of the World Star judges. It's very good to see how they have developed it, and the essential parameters of the package is also important to see. They are looking at graphic appeal, they are looking at functionality, they are looking at convenience, and finally they are looking at sustainability. So in design, we have to look at circularity, not the linear process. So I think we move out of that linear thinking to circularity. There's a lot to do in innovation, especially in packaging.
Thank you. So, Mr. Ravindra, you meet clients now. You said you came back from a flight as well, and so you meet clients from all over the globe. Do you think this type of innovation that we just spoke about is responsive, or like what's the response from the clients on innovative packaging?
Very good. Let me. I agree with everything that was just said by the previous speakers. I think it's important to ask the question why before you innovate. There has to be a purpose. So he spoke a lot on circularity. I think that's a massive area. My pre-prepared talk was really on the fact that we're going through a really tough time. But whenever there's tough times, there's always opportunities. If you look at the door that just closed, you'll be depressed. But generally, there are doors that have opened up somewhere else. And I think one of the big doors that have opened up is sustainability. I think the European consumer, pretty much everyone, we just came from Africa, they're talking about it. So, I mean, the whole world's talking about this, circularity. It's something that we've been focused on quite a bit over the last 2 years. In fact, we're just about to put up a new plant. So I think, it's something it's a huge opportunity, and that, and we should really look at it both from a country as a business, as a community. We should be looking at this. It's probably the biggest opportunity in the next 20 years. The other part, touching on one of the points Dr. Pascal said, is, commercial viability. So, in packaging now, digital technology has come a long way. It allows you to prototype a lot more effectively, allows you to do shorter runs more effectively. It's been around for a while, but I think it's really, that curve is kind of growing at an exponential rate. It's another thing that we've been focused on. I think that's the other big opportunity. So, I think, sorry, I forgot the question now. What is the question? I went off on a different angle.
Since you meet the clients.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So I'll come back to that. So absolutely, I think customers are very keen on. So there's a third part to this. So I think first one is sustainability. I think if you've got packaging that is circular, packaging that is responsible, that minimizes waste, both packaging waste and food waste, I think it's a tremendous business opportunity for any entrepreneur. The second one would be, probably. One thing that the panelists haven't spoken on is also this creating an image for your product, creating a story behind the product. We were just in Rwanda, where there was this amazing story about coffee being picked by Rwandan women. And I'm pretty sure that coffee is being sold for about double the price of the coffee in the supermarket. But the packaging and the marketing really helps you bring that to light. So yes, on the innovation from just a purely from a chemistry, from a engineering point of view is important, but also innovation from a design and just an emotional point of view. I think there's a huge opportunity. I was just on the flight back. I was overhearing two people on the plane, four German ladies who were coming on tour. There was an American gentleman next to him, and he was telling, have you been to Sri Lanka before? Just as we were boarding the plane. And the German lady said, no, first time. And he said, it's a lovely country. I've been here for 6 years. Love the people, love the place. So I think there is there's an amazing story that we can tell in addition to, and I think innovation on that end as well is very important. We don't have to only go the technical point of view. We can go the emotional point of view. And again, that's where design and creativity come in. So that I think absolutely from the visit that we've made, I think there's huge potential. The other thing we have to keep in mind, this is just directly packaging. We've got a billion people north of us. We've got a billion people one continent over on this side. You leave the billion people in the Far East out. Let's leave them out. You've still got about 500 million people from the Gulf around the corner up to Indonesia. And all of these people are about 2 weeks sailing from us, 10 days sailing from us. So I mean, if we can't figure out how to make that work, then there's something wrong with us. So we really got to put some thought into that and figure out how to link it to these value chains, which is what we're trying to do as a company. But I think even as an industry and a country, I think that's another huge opportunity. So we've got like these 3 massive opportunities that we really should be, or 4, actually, if you take the emotional part, that we really should be focused on.
Thank you. So in that sense, so we saw the technical component of the packaging design, and then we also looked at the surface. So from the student point of view, how we call this is the structural component and the graphical component. And so when it comes to innovation, of course our department is known for innovation when it comes to both ends. So this is the place where we meet the technical as well as, but our strength is actually towards the user, the end user. Yeah.
I thought of adding something to what Krishna said. So this is what he's telling, that how do you sell the story, right, of Sri Lanka? And what he is, in a subtle way, what he's mentioning is get the visitor or the traveler to experience Sri Lanka in different ways. Packaging comes in a big way on that. What are your offerings of food and beverages to the traveler in Sri Lankan ways, right? There are many ways why some of the chefs are coming to Sri Lanka, some of the different walks of life people. We have, a large community, large population around us, and it's very important as a packaging developer. I don't call anybody, no one here are experts, right? Because it's all solution providing, right? Once you do a solution, you are again an amateur, right? So basically the solution providers, you have to be mindful on cross-border legislations and your labeling regulations. So you have to be very, very mindful on that. And coming back to a little bit specific to what Dr. Ajit was mentioning, there are developed designs. When it comes to us, we throw it away. Simple reason, the packaging converter is unable to process that. Because at the point of design, that particular aspect, Prashant would add on to that, right? You cannot convert that into a realizable outlook with the available technology. Mainly, it comes from printing. What is acceptable for offset printing is not acceptable for gravure. You need to have certain limitations, certain flexibilities. You have to embed all of that at the point of design. And when it comes to, let's say, primary packaging item for tea or biscuits or milk powder, the packer has a machine which runs at 120 drops per minute. And your packaging material, what you have developed, doesn't run to that speed. Say it runs at 100 drops per minute. You do the job, you can do the job, but virtually more than 20% or less than 20% is compromised on efficiency. So the brand owners manufacturing will have to compromise on their productivity. So these are the points that you have to consider at the point of developing packaging. And also I must add here that when you are starting an innovation, let's say you are developing a product for a certain product, you have to start with at least 2 or 3 different options. And you don't go every development cycle. You start at least minimum 3 options with different combinations, with known technicalities and essential costing structures, and then you start it and you validate it with you yourself as a converter, and with the brand owner, and with the brand owner's manufacturing setup. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm just imagining the whole packaging going through the whole converter and coming up and coming. I would like to pick on the story of Sri Lanka and maybe lead the question into Mr. Dimel. So now, when you look at our project or the exports, right? The SME sector, what we noticed is they go in bulk form. So like even though we have achieved the GI certification for Ceylon cinnamon, we still see that the exports do not see the full potential of it. So now we saw this type of, I believe this pilot project was something to see or take the challenge to it. Do you think we can take this type of packaging to the next stage, especially by, telling our story?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me start with the SME and why they are doing this is because of an attitude and lack of awareness. And I believe Sri Lanka lacks post-harvest technology. We lack collaboration, like Mr. Ravindran very nicely put it about the ecosystem. A lot of producers think they can go to the market direct, and it's the easy way out actually, because they don't have to worry about quality, they don't worry about certification, hygiene, none of that, and especially because most of the SMEs are small producers, they lack awareness, and we haven't done a good job in making them aware. And the ones who are successful, if you look at our food producers who are exporting and are extremely successful, we have a lot of very successful exporters. What they have done is they have educated the farmers, they have excellent processing facilities. So this is what we have to replicate. We have to do more and more. And also this lack of collaboration has brought a sort of a sense of mistrust among people, I suppose. So we are in our silos. Now, then when they come to a government office to get some help, we also give them bits and pieces, and they have to go to 15 different places to get all the information, and that's why the packaging center, I think, is very relevant. And we must collaborate to support our small and medium enterprises. I think government intervention is important, but likewise even the private sector, we have to be together with the private sector. working together with the private, we should be the facilitator. I think the government institutions can definitely be facilitator to bring the private sector, the exporter and the producer together and help them work together so that the proper quality comes in the supply chain, like Ms. Jaising was saying, rightfully. Because if you lack a good quality product, then useless packaging it, you know. So we need to look at the whole supply chain, but the packaging part of it, we have to advise people to get the knowledge, to learn about it. And now the Export Development Board is geared to do that. And now with the packaging center, I think we are going to be better geared to support people at a sort of one-stop shop. So when we showcased at the National Packaging Pavilion at the Pro Food Fair, I think the feedback was fantastic because a lot of people didn't realize the complexity of packaging. And there is. It's pointless, you know, just doing packaging without a purpose, like, you know, just thinking that any box will suit any market. The labeling requirements, like, okay, cinnamon GI. Cinnamon GI will only be appreciated by the European market at this time. And once it is established in the European market, we could probably go to other markets. But it's a EU classification. So if we are going to go to EU, then we have some other quality certification requirements that are necessary before the GI, you know, before we can get that value or the price for GI. Otherwise, we just send it to Mexico, and Mexico doesn't know what GI means and doesn't care. So what we have to do is to, you know, help people somehow to take that giant step from the low-end market to a high-end market through the value addition, like we said. Like, we have to convince them that a $1 product can be sold for $20. And this is how we are going to do it. And that's the awareness, I think, that we have to build. And then they must trust us also. We have to do it in a way that they trust us. That's probably why they are. And also the exporters who are getting a premium for the product must take care of the supply chain or backward integrate and support the farmers and give them a little more give them a premium price for a quality product, and that also needs to happen. I think that's not happening enough either. So that whole supply chain, value chain needs to be more collaborative. Thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah.
One point there. Just to build off that, and I think one of the presenters, apologies if I misquote you, but you know, it was something to do with communication. You didn't realize, you know, how packaging was part of communication. And I think that's an area that we really need to educate people, because packaging is a powerful and really quite cost-effective tool to communicate your brand. You don't need expensive marketing, TV advertising, radio advertising. The social media brought the cost down, but now it's so crowded that it's impossible to get anything out there. And packaging really is a powerful tool. And if you look at most of the Sri Lankan brands that have done well, they have understood that. They've understood that packaging, starting from Dilmah in the 80s, but then, you know, if you look at all of them, they've understood that packaging really is communication and it is marketing. And it's not two different things. So and that's some awareness also that maybe the smaller producers are lacking.
Thank you. So, Dr. Pascual, we spoke about packaging and innovation today. So, and learned that innovative packaging design is a value addition. I think that was what we gathered from the last two speakers as well. And to the obviously this value addition to exports. What are your thoughts on this value addition component? Because it can be interpreted in so many ways.
Yeah, I think before answering that one, just one regarding this manufacturability. In our domain actually vision, like you can come up with all type of designs, but it's very important for students to know how to realize that design in practice. I mean, that is a very long, hard path. I mean, it's not something, I mean, if you can get actually that exposure right at the university, then you know, like even when you start the design, you know, okay, this has to be realized some way. I mean, it's not just a look and feel of it, but how how cost effective the entire process is. And you have to do tons of testing in order to basically meet certain regulations. I mean, all these things are part and parcel of the packaging, which we do not really get exposed to universities. I think that's something extremely important. Coming back to your question, actually, I wear a different hat in the university. There's a division called Enterprise. I'm the director of that. I think I do believe that the packaging actually is sort of, to me, it's like icing on the cake, assuming that cake is edible and is so that's the product actually is obviously is very important. But packaging really adds value from that one. So I'm not, I stand corrected, I do not know to what extent packaging has been protected in Sri Lanka as such. The designs, there are design patents, I mean different type of things. You can come up with many things like whether it is anybody actually took notice of whether we can actually protect this design. Because let's say for a packaging company or even a product, you can say this is a patented packaging. Patented in different ways, because I think it adds value. It adds value to the product, and also actually, I mean, people will think twice when trying to copying, right? Copying like when you say okay, it's patented. So this is the value addition actually can come from obviously look and feel, but also the fact that it is protected by someone, and there's a legal process. And I'm happy to say that I mean, as part of the World Bank funded HEAD project. All the universities in Sri Lanka now actually have streamlined processes in patent application, patent processing, license agreement and all that. And I encourage very much all the students who have actually shown their innovations today to look at the possibility, like to see whether there are similar things exist in other parts of the world. And if not, I mean, try to look at protecting your idea. Maybe at the university, but if a design actually is done for SMEs, from what I understood, you can actually talk to them and check whether they would like to actually apply for a design patent, so that you can highlight. I mean, it's the look and feel of that product actually is patented, and that adds whatever the dollar amount to the product. I think it's definitely value addition in that from. So I do really that is something I must actually add. So definitely it adds value. And a lot of there was a reference to sustainability. For whatever reason, it was not mentioned in the students' presentation. But I think the SD friendly cup, where the cap actually is not plastic, but the packaging itself actually made packaging is done in such a way that cap actually is not required. Okay, so that's 100% environment friendly cap as such. So it's patented. Okay, patented contribution or the incremental value that it brings in can really add.
So I guess with that, if we go in for international patents, there is also another chance that we can bring some more.
Yeah, definitely. The fact that actually just is patented also conveys some information that it is protected.
Same field, I would want to know. My question is also on the disposal aspect of packaging. So how much innovation do we need to do and we need to think about when it comes to our environment? And you can give your concluding thoughts.
Yeah. As I earlier mentioned, post-consumer people are moving from one design to another. Old designs as brand protection. So we have to grapple with these situations. See that. So coming back to sustainability or the disposal part of packaging, it's a problem. But now brand owners are very vigilant on that, and they are very concerned over that. And also the distributorships, the buyers are so concerned on whether this material is compostable. They are asking compostable certifications, degradable certifications. So people are moving it. The awareness has come. Brand owners' pressure is coming. Environmental pressure is coming. So it's important that you respond to that. You respond how, as designers, you have to respond as we are in our sustainability drive, we are saying reduce, recycle, reuse. And we add repurposing also. So when your design is in this, but at the same time, there is little bit of redefinition in packaging also. I must add to this. So refilling, take your old bottle and refilling. So that sort of trends are emerging now. But anyway, if someone can scan through, I think it's, if you go to PrintCare website, one of the best annual reports, you can see the verticals there. It's a public quoted company. You can see that it's a lovely report. Congratulations to Krishna and the team. And what is missing there, reporting. Someone who advocated triple bottom line is Professor Ajit Dialwis some time back. But I think those are things, those are areas where we need to make it mandatory, and mandatory reporting is important for people to be responsible on this whole thing rather than greenwashing your activity just to get brand attention. Thank you.
Thank you. So I believe it was a very productive conversation. Yes, last remarks.
This is just why, I mean, because collaboration actually was mentioned a number of times. I really want to again highlight the need for internal collaboration as well. Now, packaging, we were discussing basically packaging food items and all that. But when it comes to tangible products that we use, electronics, packaging is basically the enclosure design. I'm sure that is part of your, within your scope as well. And there are, I mean, for example, like in my own department, we have product design projects being done. And students actually do their own enclosure design, but from their own perspective. But it would be really nice for them to collaborate with these design students to get some new ideas. How, I mean, there's minimalistic, always is a minimalistic type of design to make sure that, because when you take a product, what you call the user interface, how many controls that you have to buttons and all that, placement of the buttons, all those things are absolutely necessary, absolutely critical to make sure that the product actually is ergonomic and a very intuitive type of thing. So those are things that obviously are more, let's say, the domains students can contribute, but it's very important if you can actually get the kind of a different perspective from design students, how they look at a product that would go to market. So this internal collaboration would be really, really important. And if we have a mechanism for that, I think I'm sure that something productive, something nice will come out.
Well, I think there is, I must announce here at this point, there is hope on that. We are in discussion of having an internal collaboration with the establishment of an innovative hub under the Faculty of Graduate Studies. It will be known as a Print, Packaging and Publishing Innovation Hub, where all the faculties within the university will come together, and we will give solutions, because I think that was something that we understood that was a requirement. And being established here at the university, we will definitely be able to support the National Packaging Center as well, and all other individual requirements that is needed from the packaging center, because right now what you saw is the surface point of view of the design, a little bit of innovation when it comes to the structural component, but then of course when in this conversation we've learned that there is more to packaging. It's not only a product that is on. And so therefore there is hope, and if you have a packaging book which is printed by PrintCare, which is a black book, it has an overview. So there were 3 phases in it. In the 3 phases, the third phase is actually the establishment of this center at the Faculty of Graduate Studies. So it would be wonderful. I think with this forum, we wanted to share the knowledge on what packaging is, the potential it has, and also internal collaboration and external collaboration. And the hope of how we can actually bring in exports or how we can bring money, economy to Sri Lanka and simply buy these packages which works as silent salesmen in the shelves. And of course, it can definitely expand into more than a shelf-based product and support in the material innovation as well and automation as well and so many other aspects where the university, being a technical university, we can contribute. So this is actually a start. So we hope that this type of a conversation will happen next year also at the design code and with the objective of developing packaging in Sri Lanka. So, yes.
I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the students and the university for this initiative. Actually, I want to especially congratulate them for looking at the markets, looking at the country specific, because it is very important for exports that we have country specific designs for packaging. Not only the quality of the product that needs to conform to certain requirements at a market, that too they had looked at. And that's very, very important. That's probably the key to take us to high-end markets as far as the SMEs are concerned. So, is the beginning. And
with that, if if the audience or anybody who sees this online, which will be posted on our social media, if you want to connect with us from when it comes to packaging or the book has the third phase and a few contact details. Speakers came in and your contribution helped in making aware of what packaging is, not only from the way we also invite you all to witness the exhibition of Design Code.